Do you have any favorite and your worst parts of, your marking or your pet peeves?
That's an interesting. Yeah, I do. I suppose the biggest pet peeve for me, and this is something that's easily avoidable. So I don't want to give the impression that these are just idiosyncratic things that you can't do, and I just hate them in an essay. But these are things that students can improve on. So the first one is just a general lack of, or a general lack of proofreading. So if there are obvious spelling errors and if there are obvious grammatical errors, with some exclusions, obviously, it just signals to me that the essay was either rushed or that they don't really care about it, and therefore it was just sort of thrown together at the last minute. It was sort of a mishmash of everything. The second thing is a little less pet peevey, but still a little bit. It just takes a little bit more of my time. Is the inclusion of your name on your assignment. Turnitin is an anonymous source, an anonymous service, and so I think by including your name on it, it sort of detracts from that a little bit. And the third thing is changing font sizes or changing fonts halfway through an essay. I don't know why, but it irritates me a little bit, because you start off an essay in, say, Times New Roman in 12-point font. It's quite easy to read, quite nice to, flows. And then all of a sudden you go to Arial times 12 or times 11 font, and you're like, why?
I see. And I guess another question from me would be, what are some of the general tips that you can give students to get a better mark on their assignments?
Yeah, good point. I suppose the first thing that I'd say is that make sure that I know this is really obvious, but the amount of students that don't do this surprises me. Just the first thing that I'd say is make sure that you read the rubric. Make sure that you understand exactly what the rubric is asking of you. Because so many times we get to an essay, or we write an essay thinking that we've hit every rubric and every section of the rubric on the head. And then all of a sudden we get an essay back and it says, oh, you've missed this part, or you've missed this part of the rubric. So I suppose that's the first thing that I'd say, is that just read the rubric. And if you're unsure, just shoot us an email, shoot us a question saying, hey, I'm not really sure what this means. Can you clarify? We're happy to. I have no issue with that. The next thing I'd say is that if you're not the greatest writer, and if you're not the greatest, if English isn't your first language, or if you're a little bit unsure about your writing style, go to Academic Skills and Learning Centre. They're a great resource from ANU. They're a free resource, and a lot of the time I've mentioned that resource in essays and saying, hey, I think you should go to this service because your writing style or your grammar or your spelling is not up to par. I was actually only just recently reading over a first year essay of mine. Don't know why I did that. I wouldn't recommend it, but it was awful. Like, it was terrible, and I can comfortably say that because I've written quite a lot of things now. But yeah, my writing style in first year and even second year, it was only really until third year that I sort of found a groove and found how to write for university, that my grades went skyrocketing, because I was actually hitting every part of the rubric. And that was only because I went to Academic Skills and Learning Centre quite a few times to get some advice and to get some guidance on how to improve. And also the third one that I'd say, and this is just so obvious to me, but a lot of students don't do it, get other people to read your work. Get your mother to read your essay, or get your father to read your essay, or get a friend to read your essay. I've found that a lot of the time, especially in technical courses, so stats or very technical criminological courses, if I give my essay to someone that has never studied criminology, they will pick up things, because they will be like, well, this sentence doesn't make sense because I don't know what you're talking about. And it really helps to clarify what things you need to rewrite, and some things that you need to provide a little bit more explanation for. So those are my three top tips of how to get a better result.
All right. Those are the interview questions.
Fantastic.
Thank you for joining us today. And guys, hope it helped in understanding your tutor better, humanizing your tutors.
Yes. Just to conclude, Cameron, would you have a message you'd like our CASS students to hear just before we let you go?
I suppose it's just that tutors are human, and tutors are there to help you. They're providing a service to you, and they're providing your education, and they want to do everything in their power to make sure that you can get the best quality education in CASS courses that you can. So don't be afraid to send them a message. Don't be afraid to shoot them an email to ask clarification. Sure, they may not respond immediately because we're human and we're busy, but don't be afraid to reach out. We're human. We're there to help you, and ultimately, this is your education, and we're there to support you in whatever way we can.